Hello students, now we're gonna start our environment and ecology current affairs section of December month, right? Okay, let's start. So before starting, I would like to tell you that there is one important topic, that Indian State of Forest report, right? So in many dimensions are there, so I'll cover it in detail in the next month. So I'm not covering this month, but I'll cover it in the next month. Okay, just letting you know. Right, let's start. So first is Wildlife Crime Control Bureau, WCCB. So it's a statutory body. So I think you need to remember. I told you already that Wildlife Protection Act 1972. It's really important, along with the other acts of um, environmental governance, because UPSC has asked question on these, and it is highly probable that the institutions and something related to these acts can be asked, right? So one of the bodies under this particular act is WCCB, that is Crime Control Bureau. From the name itself you can see crime control, right? So the idea is to combat the wildlife crime in India. It not only deal with the wildlife crime in India, but as you can see, wildlife crime is one of the organized crime, right? And transnational organized crime. So that is why it coordinates with the other international agencies such as CITES. We have already read CITES, Interpol, right? So that is why it coordinates with the international agencies also, right? Okay. So this is as I told you. So CITES and EXIM policy, export import policy, because also that also deters or creates an incentive for our wildlife trade, or the problem loopholes in that can lead to the wildlife trade. So with respect to that, next program was in news, Operation Clean Art. So it was in launched 2019 for the smuggling of the mangoes hair, right? So cracking down on the smuggling of the mangoes hair. Why these mangoes hair are used? They are used as a brush, in the brush. So that is why the operation name, you can also the Clean Art. So art that is being made should be clean. That should not use the brushes made by the mangoes hair, by the WCCB, ensuring that the mangoes hair brush trade be closed down across the country, right? So this is mangoes. So India has basically some varieties of mangoes within our territory. So mangoes, first of all, it is a schedule 2 of Wildlife Protection Act. Its IUCN is least concern, no issue with respect to that, right? So when the least concern is there, then the more important news is with respect to the other part rather than the species part. Getting my point? So species part is not very important, operation part is important. So it's a least concern. So there are 6 species of mangoes found in India, and one of the predominant one is Indian grey mangoes. Okay, let's move forward. Next is Operation Save Kurma. So I'm discussing a few of the operations of WCCB. So Save Kurma was in news in 2016. They got some award also. Save Kurma means to save some species of turtle, including the olive redlet turtle. So it was there in 2016. Now not too much important for current affair. Operation Thunderbird was when WCCB coordinated with Interpol, not for a particular species, but multinational and multi-species enforcement program to control the wildlife trade. Okay, so remember, Operation Thunderbird is by the Interpol's program, in which WCCB coordinated from India. So this is Project Thunderbird, to tracking the illegal trade in the wildlife and timber. Next is Operation Kachappa. So Operation Kachappa is for the olive ridley turtle. Now it is not done by the WCCB. It is by an NGO named as Wildlife Protection Society in India. Olive ridley turtle, I already told you, a very important species. It always remains in news, right? Olive ridley turtle is a vulnerable species according to the IUCN, and many of the terms that you must have read about it, we have already discussed olive ridley turtle. So that is why it is in the revision sheet. So what we discuss, Aribada, so unique mass nesting is there. Few of the operations we also discuss, Operation Oliva and Operation Save Kurma, that we currently have discussed, right? Okay, so Rishikulya beach and these locations, please do see Gahir Matha, Rishikulya, these are the location, very important. Next is Jehol Batar Kilene. So what is this? Basically it's a mammal, extinct mammal is there. So fossils have been found of this mammal, and some so rodent, they have good hearing capacity. So in that logic, they have traced it, some bones they have found of a middle ear, right? A new species of extinct rodent, they have found a middle ear. So they consider it one of the evolutionary aspect, how they develop their hearing capabilities, right? So driven by the specialization for hearing. That's it. So if the question will be coming, very shallow level question will be coming, so they will ask you this, what is this, quote unquote, it was in the news, what is this, right? Like that only. The options will be tough. Like, it's a bacteria, it's a virus, or something, but it's a fossil of rodent. Next is bar-headed goose. So bar-headed goose, again a least concern species. So it was sighted for the first time in one of the wetlands in Kerala. They're found in predominantly in China and Mongolia, but they migrate to India. One of the distinguishing fact for them is that they fly at a very high altitude. Very high altitude they fly, right? And that's what distinguishes them from the very lowland waterfall. Okay, this is the location of the wetland. So it is in Kerala. Not very important because wetlands are more or so those are important which are considered in the Ramsar sites and which are the predominant lakes such as Pulicat Lake or Vular Lake, like that, right? So they consume oxygen at the very high rate at in hypoxia, and this distinguishes them from the other lowland species. Next is Project Dolphin. So on the lines of the Project Tiger, the government has launched Project Dolphin to save the dolphin, obviously, right? To enhance the population of these dolphin. In fact, yesterday I was seeing on Twitter, so a photo of Gangetic dolphin has come. That again, it was seen in the rivers. So it's an endangered species because of the everything is closed down. Many of the species are on the ground reclaiming their space. So they are in the Schedule 1 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act in Appendix 1. Okay, Appendix 1 of CITES and Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. So these are the most preserved or most vulnerable species. Okay, the rest you can see. Please distinguish between Gangetic dolphin and the Irrawaddy dolphin. So they have already asked question on Irrawaddy dolphin, right? So Gangetic dolphin is also our national aquatic animal. One time IES, I think the question was asked that what is the national aquatic animal. So it is Gangetic dolphins. Okay. Right. Next is MP gets its first elephant colony. So last time we have discussed in detail about the elephant reserves, right? Project Elephant that we have discussed last time. Which state has the maximum number of elephants? That is Karnataka. So first MP colony has come in the Bandhavgarh forest. So Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve is also there, right? So in that forest, first MP colony has come. So last time we have discussed Project Elephant, and that we have discussed that welfare of the captive elephant is also included in that. Then Karnataka has the highest population, and then when Project Elephantine that we have discussed, it started in the Kaziranga, providing the elephant some sort of a digestible milk that makes them easy for the elephant calves. Now Bandhavgarh I've taken directly from our Tiger Reserve series. So Bandhavgarh Tiger Reserve is in the MP, right? Please do see Tiger Reserve series. I'm telling you time and again that it is very important. It can be a very potent tool for your preparation, right? So rest of the details you can see from there only. So Bandhavgarh name also comes from a mythological story. So there is a hillock, right? It is said to be given by the Lord Rama to the brother Lakshman to keep an eye on the Lanka, right? So on the hillock, that is a hill, small hill, on which the Lakshman used to sit, and he used to keep an eye on the Lanka. Right. Next is torrefaction technology. So coming from the species, now we are discussing some of the technologies. First is torrefaction. So this technology has been used for the reduce the stubble burning. Now stubble burning, everybody knows that the problem in the winter month, right? So when the stubble is burned in the states such as Punjab and Haryana, so the wind flows and takes it to the neighboring states, and a lot of air pollution is created. Now for the 2 to 3 years, 4 years, we are battling with this. So this technology is being said as a solution. So it's a Swedish technology. It will reduce those stubble into biocoal. So a better quality of biofuel it will create from the already that is stubble. It will have a higher energy density and a calorific value. Okay. So this is torrefaction technology. So it will be burned at a 200 to 300 degrees Celsius. This much is important for us. And these are the properties will change. So raw biomass will have higher moisture. Torrefied biomass will have lower moisture, right? These things not very important, but you need to remember what is torrefaction. Okay. So if the question asks, just need to know what is torrefaction and where it is being deployed. And Swedish thing, I don't think that is very important. related to that, some technology such as pyrolysis. So pyrolysis is burning in absence of oxygen. That's what we need to know. So it generates syngases, right? Mostly. So pyrolysis is in the absence of oxygen, whereas incineration is in the presence of the oxygen. Then biomethanation. So from the name itself, you can see biomethanation. So methanation means finally the biogas will be emitted or the methane will be emitted. Then bio means with the use of the microorganisms. So organic matter is microbiologically will be converted to biogas under the anaerobic conditions, because you know, and these bacteria's work, these microorganisms work better in the in the anaerobic conditions, right? So this is biomethanation. Some parallel technologies are there, right? Next is incineration. So as I told you, so high volume of the air, municipal solid waste as a fuel. So fuel will go with the air and they will be burned, right? So it will be used to make any steam, and from that electricity can be made. In fact, many of the incineration plants are coming up in the vicinity of Delhi to deal with the problem of the municipal solid waste and also create some energy, right? Next is UN RED. So what is this? It's an institutional mechanism. First of all, it's an institutional mechanism situated in Geneva, right? It is a multilateral collaborative program of FAO, UNDP and UNEP. So what is this? Reducing emission from deforestation and degradation. So what is that basically? We'll see. So just remember, RED is an institution that helps to implement REDD plus, right? So basically something related to the forest. So what they do actually, they motivate. So just as to remind you, REDD is an institutional mechanism, and whereas REDD plus is the actual work, you can say. They are the voluntary commitments, and they're the mitigation approach. Mitigation approach means by conserving the forest, by reducing emissions from deforestation, so reducing the deforestation and ensuring that the forest remains as it is. Now that includes cost. That is mitigation measure. Mitigation measure means, so there are two measures. I hope you know this. So there are two measures to fight climate change. One is mitigation measure and second is adaptation measure. Mitigation measures means making sure that the situation does not worsen. So that situation does not worsen means maintaining the tree cover or making sure that deforestation does not take place. Adaptation is hoping that situation will change. Obviously, whatever mitigation we will measures we will take, but situation is bound to change. So adaptation is changing with the changing time. So that is adaptation. Okay. So obviously REDD plus is a mitigation measure. So what they basically, and also REDD does not only, REDD plus goes beyond the deforestation, and it also includes, obviously whenever you talk about deforestation and the tree cover, other aspects such as poverty mitigation, right? Conserving the foreign carbon stock, these things are a logical corollary, right? Poverty mitigation, poverty removal, because poverty is the worst polluter. Indira Gandhi once said in Stockholm conference that poverty is the worst polluter. So the idea REDD plus to expand its ambit. So what basically, how it does it? So those countries which are able to conserve their forest, they will be given result based payment for verified emission reduction. So if they conserve it, if they do not lead to deforestation, they will receive payments under this REDD and REDD plus framework. Okay, so it gives them incentive so that they should maintain their tree cover. They should not destroy their tree cover for the industrial process or land use change and all these. So they will be given incentive to maintain their forest cover, right? What is the difference between the two? I already told you, right? REDD is a multilateral body and institutional mechanism, whereas REDD plus is a voluntary climate change mitigation approach. Okay, it is under the framework of UNFCCC. Okay, this much we need to know. Actually, UPSC has already asked question on REDD plus. That is why I don't think again the question will be asked. So you can see what was the question 2016. Which of the following statement is correct? Proper design and effective implementation of REDD plus significantly contributes to what? So first is protection of biodiversity, resilience of forest system and poverty reduction. Now many of the students were confused whether third part will be there or not. Now always remember that this is a very generic option and this will always be right. Why? any of the measure, ultimately it is for the people, right? So that the impact that climate change is making on the people can be mitigated, and people can adapt to the changes that are being coming. So obviously third will be always right, right? So obviously answer will be 1, 2 and 3. So because we have many of the students have read about REDD plus, but they are thinking, okay, it is more of a ecosystem centric approach. Why the people will be included? So that is why we have to shed our inhibitions and apply common sense. How like it doesn't matter how much we have read. Next is Nannamala forest area. So this particular area we have already discussed in our places in news, the location and Chenchun tribes we have already seen in our tribes in news. Now, why it was in the news? So with respect to, it was a Save Nallamala campaign was going on. So first of all, Nallamala. Let's discuss. It's a part of the Eastern Ghat location, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana border. Now, if you remember, Tiger Reserve is also coming into the news. So it is a forest area where so much biodiversity is there. Tigers, deer, bison, and all the tree and plants are there. Tribes such as Chenchun tribes are there. We have discussed Chenchun tribes, right? So it serves as a catchment area for the Krishna River. Now, Nallamala we have seen already. So this is the location of Nallamala, and this is the, if you see, it's the same size. It is there. So on the border of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, right? So this is Nallamala forest. First of all, the location. Okay, why it was in the news? Save Nallamala forest was for the uranium. Stop the mining of the uranium in the region. Okay. So that if uranium mining, a lot of uranium mining takes place, then these forest cover and all these things will be destroyed. And many of the celebrities have come out in the support of the protesters. Now Chenchun tribes we have seen already, right? They help conserve the big cats, and already tigers are conserved. So this is Amrabad, sorry. Okay? So this tiger reserve is there. Nagarjuna and Sarisalam tiger reserve, then it was changed between the two, right, after the bifurcation among the states. So this is what you need to remember, right? Whenever there is a current affair fact which is integrated across the domain, for example, Chenchun tribe, Nallamala forest, there is ecological protest, uranium mining, then it becomes really, really important for UPSC, because if they ask a question, they have multiple dimensions to ask you. Next is Global Green Growth Institute. So this Global Green Growth Institute is a treaty-based international intergovernmental organization. Actually, 1 to 2 years back, it was too much in news. But remember, India is not a member of it. From the name itself, Global Green Growth Institute, right? The idea is to promote the normal rhetoric, strong, inclusive, sustainable economic growth in developing countries and the emerging economies, right? So just remember, India is not a member, but India is a partner of this. Next is National Green Corps, that is Eco Club, just like NCC and all these things. So they have made some National Green Corps, Eco Club. So national-wide initiative of Ministry of Environment, obviously, to impart what it will be, just like NSS, some social service thing is there. Similarly, the Eco Club will be doing some environmental thing, environmental in terms of awareness, experience, skilling, like hobbies such as gardening, and also all these things will be given to them. Save environment, save earth, and all this. The students as a champion of the change. That is the point. Next is Serpents app. So Serpents app, from the name itself, Serpents means something related to the snakes. So this is app developed by the Wildlife Trust of India, along with other experts, have developed this application on Serpent. So what it will be, it will provide a real-time help to the victim of the snake bite. So if you are bitten by the snake, this app will help you to, for example, the location of the hospital, some very first aid, what can be provided. So these are the information will be provided through this Serpents app, obviously in those areas where a lot of snake bites happen. Next is Smoke Tower. So last time we have discussed one thing, that is Vayu, right? So next is for tackling the air pollution in Delhi, some things are coming up, that is Smoke Tower. So Smoke Tower is inspiration from the China. In China, many of the smoke towers are already set up. So they are the basic, they are basically the structure which are large scale air purifier, right? So one they have installed in Connaught Place, one Gautam Gambhir has installed in his constituency, I think, right? So these are the smoke towers. Okay, you can see Gautam Gambhir Foundation has come up with the Shuddh smoke tower. Next is Green Good Deeds campaign. So again, another rhetorical campaign by the government. Basically, again, it's an awareness generation program by MOFCC, nothing else, right? Nothing money, nothing is there. Okay, just remember that. So basically, the idea is to sensitize people about the climate change, global warming, the significance of the environment, and all these things. So the minister says that we should do one green good every day. You can use all these things in your ethics and ISA, especially in ethics. Okay. Next is Taj Trapezium Zone. So basically, trapezium means five, something five, right? I made six. Yes, I made six. Okay, sorry. So Taj Trapezium Zone is basically a history of Taj is there. If you know MC Mehta cases, right? Then many of the Supreme Court judgment has come that the industry along on the Taj Trapezium Zone will be should limit themselves, should they have fixed the limit. Many of the industry have to be shifted from that place because it was leading to the deterioration of the marbles of the Taj Mahal, right? So currently why it is in the news, recently Supreme Court has lifted the ban from the construction, industrial activity and felling of trees in the Taj Trapezium Zone. Okay, that thing I think you should read in your environmental governance in the polity section. I think that can be asked in mains. So they can ask you the question that what are the Supreme Court's the contribution of the Supreme Court to the environmental governance, right? So what are the five districts that have been spread over this? That is Agra, Firozabad, Mathura, Hathras and Etah in Uttar Pradesh. I don't think so that the question will be asked, they will ask for the mapping and things, but they will ask you in the context of what is Taj Trapezium Zone, right? So just remember, it's an eco-sensitive area which also includes 3 World Heritage Sites, and that is why it was created. Not only protect Taj Mahal, but also the Fatehpur Sikri and Agra Fort, because they are a very good tourist attraction. If many of the things will be destroyed, so a lot of industries will be can be a problem, right? Okay. Next is oxygen parlor. Again, a very normal thing. So oxygen parlor is a Nasik railway station. They have installed the oxygen parlor. So what it is? So it's aimed to provide experience of breathing clean air to the commuters. So you can see these things are also coming up. So because the clean air is not we are getting in our cities, so these parlors are coming up where you can go and have some clean air for some time, right? Okay. Next is last topic, extra neutral alcohol. So what is this? Extra neutral alcohol is a byproduct of the sugar industry. So basically, from the name itself, extra neutral alcohol. So what it is? It contains 95% of the alcohol by volume. It is a raw material for making alcohol beverages. So industry was saying, basically it was in the news, industry was saying that some alcohol manufacturers have written to the Niti Aayog asking for the reduction in the import duty. So that's why it was in the news. An Indian Express article was there. That is why we have covered it. Okay. So just remember, it's a raw material for making alcoholic beverages. And from where this all things come, molasses from the sugarcane industry, residue of the sugarcane industry. I hope you know all the very basic stuff from where the alcohol is made, ethanol and all this, right? Okay, so quickly let's revise and then we finally finish our session. So we started with WCCB, right, one of the bodies. Then we have discussed some of the operations. Operation Clean Art for mangoes here, then Operation Save Kurma for turtles, Operation Thunderbird with respect to the Interpol coordination, Interpol's operation with which WCCB coordinates for all the species. Then Operation Kachappa for olive red turtle. Then we have discussed olive red turtle, Operation Olive that Indian Coast Guard is having. Then this particular rodent like mammal which has middle ear, those bones have been found. Then bar headed goose, again least concern. Then Project Dolphin, endangered species, on the lines of the Project Tiger to conserve these. Project Tiger has been a real success. In fact, one of the success stories of India's environmental governance has been Project Tiger. Very good. Next, something related to the elephant. So MP is getting first elephant colony that we have discussed, Project Elephant last time. I just revised it. Then torrefaction technology, pyrolysis, biomethanation and incineration that we discussed. Then UN REDD, then difference between REDD and REDD plus how the money goes, under the umbrella of UNFCCC. The finally Save Nalla Mala project. So that is important. I told you Save Nalla Mala is important because many of the tribes are associated and all these things. Next, Global Green Growth Institute, then Eco Clubs, and finally the Serpents app, then Smoke Towers, then Green Good Campaign, Taj Trapezium Zone, and extra neutral alcohol and oxygen parlors, right? So quickly we've done the revision And with this, we finish our environment and ecology. Lastly, the last two sessions are remaining, economy 1 and 2. We are a relatively bit late, but we'll try to catch up in the coming time, right? See you in the next class, everyone. Thank you.